So hi, today I'm at the Longy School of Music where I'm a faculty member here and I'm also in the middle of co-hosting along with my ensemble Load Bang our Divergent Summer Studio, which is a really fun 2-week summer camp for new music and experimental performance. And I wanted to try out a new to me mouthpiece. This is from a Japanese mouthpiece company named Momo, Momo. I don't know much about the company, but a few months ago I bought one of their uh, 60 mouthpieces. They use numbers. So there's a 60 star, and the star is like some sort of either heat, I think it's a heat treatment, like an annealment on the mouthpiece. Might be a cold treatment too. It's been hard to find information on this company. Either way, the star means that something's been done to the mouthpiece. So I got the 60 not knowing if it was advertised as a tenor mouthpiece, and it came and I played a couple notes and I went, this is a bass mouthpiece. I tried it on my bass and it was really lovely. So I figured I would get a tenor version. This is their 52E, again with the star on it. The E is their deeper cup depths. I always like deep cup depths. It's a very nice looking mouthpiece. This one's got a gold rim, which is fun. It's got a gold on the inside also. Some people like gold, some people like silver. I've never really found a preference to them, but you know, if the mouthpiece plays, it plays. And it's been really fun to kind of figure out what this mouthpiece is about. In terms of size, it's very much in the Schilke realm of sizes. The 52 kind of gives it away. It's very similar to the 51, 52 Schilke mouthpieces. Just has a slightly different outer profile, much less straight, more of like almost a V taper, but on the inside it feels more like a traditional cup, which is nice. And it has a nice depth to it as well, which I always enjoy. Today I'm going to be comparing it against my Long Island Brass 550E, another deep mouthpiece. Much different outside and much different rim. I would say that's the biggest thing I could say about these mouthpieces is this Momo mouthpiece is one of the more grippy rims of any mouthpiece I've tried. It's not sharp, which is kind of cool, but it definitely stays right where you put it. I am very aware of where the mouthpiece is sitting on the upper lip, especially at any given moment with this mouthpiece. Let's get into some sound samples, see how it goes. I usually use Bolero as my reference point for a lot of these mouthpieces, so let's give a crack at that, see how it is. Okay, first impression, very brilliant sound, very cutting, very pure sound. It's very nice in that. It felt like it took some more effort above high B flat, and at the B flat, like the very first B flat itself, it felt like it was taking a little bit more out of me, but I'm guessing that it sounds like it didn't take more out of me. As I went lower and lower, it felt like it was hard to get the roundness of sound I'm used to behind the bell, but it also felt super clear. Like that wasn't such a bad feeling. Let me try Bolero. It's been a while since I've done it on my Long Island Brass mouthpiece, and this is a completely different feel, completely different rim, everything else. But let's see what that sounds like side by side. Yeah, it'd be hard to think of two more different feeling rims than these two, which I'm realizing more than like size or shape or depth or anything else. The rim contour is really the thing from mouthpiece to mouthpiece that's the hardest for me to adjust. Definitely feels a lot stranger. I think the next thing I'd like to try out with this, just to test out this low register again, is Tuba Mirum. I'd like to hear back to back what these two mouthpieces sound like, because I'm really curious about the opening of the Tuba Mirum as well as the descent into the upwards arpeggios, how that low B flat kind of feels. Let's do a little bit of Tuba Mirum. So I like how locked in this feels. It feels like when I'm on a pitch that it will play straight down the middle and that there's not a lot of room to play around within the slot, which feels very nice for something like Tuba Mirum where you just want it to be like that audition style, single color, single timbre, go right at it. Let's try the same thing on the Long Island brass mouthpiece because I've had some ideas in mind about the two, but I just want to see how they feel next to each other. Yeah, so with the Momo mouthpiece, it feels a little less round, but very clear and very direct, very present. But I'm missing kind of the warmth and wideness of sound that I enjoy on the Long Island brass mouthpiece. They do different things for different tasks, is the best way to put it. I would prefer to play the Long Island brass for most stuff, but again, and I felt this with the JSV2 mouthpiece that I just tried, this probably sounds really good in a big hall. Like the deeper the hall is, the more you need to really reach that back room, that back row. This mouthpiece and the JSV2, maybe even more so, have that clarity and that kind of like punch that you might want to have on like a principal part on like exposed solo in the orchestra repertoire. Let me try, I'm curious about articulations. Let me try a little bit of Hungarian march on this. I'm gonna play the second trombone part for it just to kind of like Let's see what that's like. Interesting. This is a much lighter mouthpiece than the Long Island Brass or the JSV2 or really a lot of my other mouthpieces. This is one of the lightest mouthpieces I've had. And I find that at that Hungarian March level of dynamic, I was having just the hardest time feeling like I wasn't going to overblow the mouthpiece or feeling like it was giving me enough to really get a large sound out. Again, it might be really clear, really present on cell phone recording. I wasn't sure about the warmth and wideness of the sound that I'm kind of more used to. But again, that punch and clarity, it's really speaking to me. It's saying something. Let's try out the same Hungarian March excerpt on the Long Island Brass mouthpiece. Yeah, so I'm really curious to kind of go back and listen side by side what those two have to say. Let's stay in Berlioz land for a second. Let's try some Symphonie Fantastique. Let's see how that high E flat kind of rings out on both of these mouthpieces. Alright. Wasn't sure for a second there if I was going to remember exactly how that goes. Let's hope I can remember it twice at least. Yeah, so different width of sound, and I was descending from the E flat. The Long Island Brass felt like it held together a little better for me, but maybe I'm trying to overplay it just a little bit to see what this difference is. The last thing I remembered with the lightness of this Momo mouthpiece is that the pedal range and the low range felt like it was a little harder to get into. Let me play a couple notes down into the pedal range and see how that's feeling today. Yeah, it just feels a little bit, again, with the way the rim is shaped, it kind of locks you into place so the notes sound. But let me demonstrate the same sequence on Long Island Brass mouthpiece. feels like there's just a little bit of more amount of sound overall. Let me, just to kind of flesh out the whole thing, let me do a couple of the wider rips I have from low to high into the ultra high registers. The flexibility on this feels really nice. Like an octave pseudo trill feels pretty good on this thing. That's usually easier than it feels. Let me try out the same couple of sequences on the Long Island brass mouthpiece. Long day, let's try that one again. And then the those octave pseudo trills. They feel like a little bit harder to get the same ease up and down, even though they do provide a little bit more sound. And then just for fun, let's see the multiple tonguing on this sound. So let's try a little bit of that Fratres opening on the Momo mouthpiece. Not bad. Still feels pretty clear, pretty solid, pretty present. The articulations on it feel solid. And on the Long Island brass. Okay, so Momo 52E star for whatever treatment it is that they do on it. If you want a pretty deep mouthpiece but with a lot of clarity and punch, I think that this mouthpiece would be a really nice option. If you like more lightweight mouthpieces, because you could provide like a lot of warm, big air yourself, I also think this would be a really solid mouthpiece. It's very analogous to the JSV2, and I'm guessing with the difference in weight, it probably is really close to the JSV1 also. I would slightly prefer the JSV2 because I like a little bit more weight. It helps get me the sound that I want. But if you're a player with a naturally big sound, like the punch and clarity of this could be really good for a principal part in reaching the back row. And I think it could be really good on a Pops concert as well. So I think that the Momo company in Japan is making some really nice mouthpieces. I know this mouthpiece is going to find a home with one of my students in the future because it's really high quality. And I've been really lucky to try out some extraordinarily high quality mouthpieces lately. I would say that the Long Island brass, this Momo, the JSV2, the Doug Elliott mouthpiece I have, those are kind of all going to go in like the top row for me of like my go-to mouthpieces to help students try out stuff. I've had a fun time playing this and getting to know a little bit more about it. I hope you've had a pretty fun time listening to a little bit of it too. So thanks for watching.